the first piece is recognize you're in pain. So just that piece of going, oh my gosh, my life is not working. Some people seem to know how to do this. I don't. All of those kinds of things. The second step is get some help for support and change. Because most of us, when we're stuck, we don't know how to do it. So we need a book to read or an article or a podcast to listen to, or somebody who knows a little bit more about it than we do.
Thank you for tuning into Time for You Evolve for female entrepreneurs. Remember, you have what it takes to achieve greatness. Your time is now. You're here with me, you're ready to change lives, and you're ready to change the world. Isn't it time to skip over the confusion and start creating sustainable and consistent results? We're going to pull back the curtain and start giving meaning to life in this podcast. Time for You Evolved. Hey, my name is Lisa Carmichael, and I am obsessed with everything online. It's no secret, in this crowded and highly competitive business world, we need to stand out. It's even more important at a deeper level to stand up for ourselves. I am a farm girl who grew up shy with zero confidence. If someone had suggested that I would eventually start a podcast, I would never have believed it. As a farm kid, I had the unique opportunity to embrace a holistic approach to life. All the seasons of growth were lessons that have helped me and other female entrepreneurs find success when they've been stuck and struggling. The Time for You Evolve podcast is here to help you navigate business online so you can be laser focused and help you navigate the messy and the magical in every season of your business. Pull up a seat to hear the tried and true secrets that other female entrepreneurs like you are facing, and get ready for real talk while you learn. This is the Time for You Evolved podcast. Hey there, entrepreneurs, ready to work smarter, not harder? Then you're in for a treat. Let's talk about video marketing, the smart approach that attracts, retains, and converts faster than any other strategy out there. Hey, I get it. Video marketing can be daunting. You know, you should be doing it, but you're not quite ready to take that leap, or you're frustrated because you're not looking like a pro. Hey, I get it. Who can blame you? Creating videos can be frustrating, time-consuming, and downright intimidating. That's where Big View comes in. It's the solution for your frustration. With Big View, you can create professional videos with ease thanks to its teleprompter app. I've been using Big View for years. Did you know that? Big View is an app that has saved me a lot of time and hassle. The app makes it easy to create professional looking videos. It's an online teleprompter that allows the presenter to keep eye contact with the camera while reading the text they need to speak. Using a teleprompter app allows the reader to sound natural without cue cards or notes to fumble or looking down while you're speaking. And the best part is that Big View allows you to focus on your performance and delivery so your confidence shines through. You get to keep eye contact with the camera while you're reading your script. Whether you're a marketer, a blogger, a trainer, a freelancer, a publisher, or business owner, Big View is designed with you in mind. If you're ready to take your video marketing game to the next level, click on the Big View link on my website, lisarcarmichael.com/bigview. Join me and be the best presenter you can be and learn how to make great presentations. And that's lisarcarmichael.com/bigview.
We're in a networking group called Women of Words. And when I met Ellen, we just had so many things in common. And I'm so grateful and honored to have Ellen join me on my podcast today on this show because of that common link that we have. And I was really excited to go out and meet Ellen out in her hometown, or where she's currently living, in Northfield.
and we met for coffee and we had the most wonderful conversation. And Ellen is getting ready to publish another book. And the book that she's writing right now is From Pain to Power. Ellen is a psychologist and she is a wealth of wisdom. And I would just want to thank you, Ellen, again for joining me today. And can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey about becoming a psychologist and then book?
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to do that. I graduated from a small college called Mackinac College with a degree in pre-med a long time ago, with no intention of going to medical school. It just was the quickest I could get my credits completed. And I had a lot of other classes that I wanted to take. So I got out of college and got married within a year. During the 10 years of that marriage, we had 4 kids, and I was an at-home mom with them. At the 10-year mark, the marriage ended, and I had to really reinvent myself at that point. By that time, my kids were going to school, and I had time on my hands. And I kind of realized that I was probably going to get myself in trouble if I didn't figure out something really big to do with my time and energy. And eventually I got cleared to go back to school and did that, got a master's degree at about the age of 35. My master's degree was in counseling, in community counseling from Mankato State. And from there, I was working for an agency for about 13 years, and then began my own practice in 2001. And that's what I've been doing ever since. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So my biggest model was my dad, who opened up a consulting business at the age of 60. And I kept saying, if he can do it, I can do it. And
wow, that's amazing.
Here I am.
I love it that you've shared your journey with us, because a lot of women, female entrepreneurs, don't see the bigger picture, that things are possible. And instead, we are constantly listening to the recordings that we're not good enough and we can't do it and we can't figure it out. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you can figure it out if you have the right recordings. And let's just kind of segue into your book, From Pain to Power, a memorable name.
Yes. The story of how that began was I was talking with somebody one day, and she said, Ellen, can you recommend a really good book on boundaries? I have somebody I need to give a book on boundaries to. And I thought, and I said, I really can't recommend one that I'm just really excited about. And probably I could write one. And then I just stopped and went, whoa, I wonder who said that. But I pay attention to things like that come out of my mouth. And so that was really the beginning of this book, which has actually this is the 3rd incarnation. So the first round, and as I said, this was 2015. This was about 8 years, almost 9 years ago now. So the first incarnation was stories that might go in a book like that. And I imagined a little book of boundaries, like a little tiny book like Marie Kondo's book about tidying up is a small size book. And that didn't seem to sort of fill the whole bill. And so I organized a class on boundaries that I just made as a free class locally where I was. That gave me a structure of the 8 classes, and I taught 3 strategies each class. And at the end of the class, I went, oh my gosh, this could be a structure for a book. 3 times 8 is 24 chapters, 1 strategy per chapter. So I wrote that book, and that didn't do it either. It just was missing. It had a lot of information, probably much more than most people will take in at one time. And it didn't have enough sort of storyline running through it. And I got together with a college classmate who's a coach And we spent one of the years during COVID talking about once a month, not specifically about the book, but about life and ideas and what works and what doesn't work. Out of that came a 3-week session a year ago when I had a chance to go and just work on writing the book. And so in 3 weeks, a year ago, I wrote From Pain to Power, 7 Steps to Healthy Boundaries. One of the questions she had asked was, if I came into your office and I said, I need some help with boundaries, what are the steps that you would have me go through? And that got me thinking about specifically, what do you do first and what do you do second? And so I think it was 5 steps at the beginning and it became 6 and then it became 7 as I was processing this. But
Sure. Yeah.
the steps really are about the first piece is recognize you're in pain. So just that piece of going, oh my gosh, my life is not working. Some people seem to know how to do this. I don't. All of those kinds of things. The second step is get some help for support and change. Because most of us, when we're stuck, we don't know how to do it. So we need a book to read or an article or a podcast to listen to or somebody who knows a little bit more about it than we do. So then the third step became identify those boundary beliefs that run through our head that send us in a particular action direction or not. And an example of that would be if I have something I need to say to somebody that feels like it might be difficult, even if I know that I really need to say, no, I can't do this, or something like that. If I have this little voice in the back of my head that says, don't say anything to anybody that will get them mad. Now, that is a message straight out of my childhood, and it ran around in my head for a long time before I realized that was what was happening. And so even though I needed to say no, I would hold back because it was like, if I say no, they may get mad and something terrible will happen. So identifying what those things are. I should brush my teeth 3 times a day might be one of them. The old story about I should vacuum every day. And a woman realizing that her mother didn't have a whole lot to do. So vacuuming every day was one way of filling her time and having structure for her life. And this woman realized that her house didn't get that dirty and vacuuming once a week was plenty. So she changed the old belief to a new belief. For me, vacuuming once a week is plenty. So that goes into the fourth step, which is when I've identified what that old belief is, I can stop and notice when I say that to myself, how does my body respond? Does my body go, yes, that's on target? Or does my body go, that doesn't feel good? So really learning how to read my body's responses to things is incredibly useful. And I teach somebody something called a sway test, that so your body can actually give you a yes or no answer about whatever it is. And I use that all the time. I use it when I'm thinking about eating something because for much of my life, have used food for comfort or distraction or other things besides just my body needs this. So I will often hold the food in my hand and stand relaxed and notice whether my body sways forward, which is my body saying, yes, this is a good thing for you to eat, or whether my body sways backwards saying, no, not so much. So in this holiday season with all kinds of goodies, it's been really useful. How about this cookie? Nope. How about this bar? Nope. How about this apple? Okay. And so finding out and being able to assess is this a yes or is this a no? And then learning to notice that on an ongoing basis in my life.
Right. Just being present is just so, so very important. Even, being present in a conversation, but food, especially, female entrepreneurs are always on the go and they're not enjoying what they're eating. So great example. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
So that's step 4, which is where you do the assessment. And once you find this is a boundary belief that works really well for me, then you can keep it. And if you get one that doesn't work so well, your body's going, not. Then step 5 is create and practice effective new boundary beliefs. So if my old boundary belief is don't say something if it's going to make the other person mad, the new boundary belief might be something like, it's important for me to say the things that take care of me. And if the other person gets mad, I can still be okay. And so when I check with my body, I have 3 things that I check with myself about. Does this work well for me, this new boundary belief? Does my body feel peaceful with it? Now I've forgotten the third one. Okay.
But what you've done is you've reprogrammed your thinking.
Yes.
Because, it's that opposite kind of thinking, like everything is going well. And then, someone jumps on your shoulder and tells you it's not. And what you've done is you've reprogrammed that thinking of how you think about things so that it can be more empowering instead of feeling like I'm lonely, I'm confused, I'm a procrastinator. So you're speaking lovely thoughts, positive thoughts to yourself.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Now I'm going to back up one piece and just tell you that each chapter of the book has 2 parts in it. So some of the storyline is my own story of hitting this place with 4 small kids and my husband saying, I don't really want to be married to you anymore. I'm out of here. And getting into a relationship with somebody else right away, which was incredibly painful for me at the time. I remember saying my self-esteem is at a -17. It was pretty bad. And so there's that storyline, which sometimes goes back to early things that I learned in my life, but tracks that point where I realized I had to do something different or my life was going to be pretty awful. And so for me, it was that point of hitting a divorce. But I think most people can identify one of those sort of major turning points in their life where everything changes and hopefully you can figure out at that point what to do differently. And the second half of the chapter is an exercise or 2 to learn to do that thing differently. So it's the hands-on piece that goes with. So the sway test is learn to assess, is this a yes or no for my body? Step 5, create and practice effective new boundary beliefs for yourself. The exercise for that is writing your new belief and then writing what your brain says back to you. I can speak to somebody, and even if they're angry, I can be okay. But what if they never talk to me again? It's what your head says back to you. And then you write that, and then you write your new belief. I can speak to somebody, and even if they get angry, I'll be okay. But maybe I will never have any friends again, so on and on. But that is one of those processes where if you do that writing thing until you get 3 neutral or positive responses. So a neutral response might be, well, maybe, or it might be just a silent acceptance, nothing comes back. Or it might be, yes, I can do this. You get 3 of those in a row, and then you're done writing for the day. And the next day you do the same thing. And what happens, some people say 21 days, but what happens over the course of that is it takes a shorter time each day, typically, that your brain doesn't have so many buts to come back to you with. And often by the end of that time, when that situation comes up where somebody might get mad, what pops in is the new belief. Oh, they may get mad and I'll still be okay. And that becomes the automatic response to that situation. So what you were saying is, I've rewritten it. And then the exercise is the way to get it in so that it's in long-term memory and the new belief pops up instead of the old belief.
I love it. So before you jump into the next step, I just wanted to add two things that I love the writing exercises that you're doing in both chapters, because writing things down is so powerful. And we could go on a tangent on that for a little while. But I hear your excitement in your book and in your writings, and it's just coming out. And I'm very excited for anyone to pick up this book, because I know, we're in a lifetime of everything is instant gratification. And this is not an overnight process.
No.
This is something that you are going to have to read it over and over again. And just like you became a psychologist, it took a lot of laser focus to be where you are. This just didn't happen overnight. And if life is really bad, it's not going to change by reading a few chapters of a book and maybe writing down a few exercises. It really requires a lot of work and commitment. And I agree, Ellen would not be where she's at after going through what she did at a young age.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow. This is so wonderful. I love it, Ellen. Thank you.
I find it really exciting too. In fact, that exercise of writing the new thing and then having the arguments come back and actually being able to change what comes up automatically in my head. That was one of the most exciting days of my life when I learned that I could actually do something to make it be different in my head. Because when I was going through that divorce, I really figured that about 70% of what went through my head was things like, you shouldn't have done that, you dummy, I can't believe. And it was just putting myself down again and again. It was not fun living in my head. And I have to say, at this point in my life, it feels really different living in my head, because I learned to do some of these things.
Nice. Beautiful. Okay. So we're on number 5.
We just finished 5, which is practice those new ones, identify and practice those new ones with yourself. And then step 6 is practice your new boundary beliefs with other people. So getting ready ahead of time, thinking of the words you're going to use, lots of examples in the book. And there are other really good boundary books out now that weren't out in 2015 with lots of ideas, the words to say. Nidra Glover Tawwab has a wonderful one, and I'm spacing on the name. I'll see if I can pull that up before we finish. Anyway, so practicing them with other people, which, may mean preparing ahead of time, but also an effective piece for me has been sort of at the end of the day, when I think through my day, if there's some things that I didn't handle as well as I would have liked to with other people, that's a great time to sort of go back and in imagination, pull up what I wish I would have said instead and kind of replay that conversation in my head, in imagination. And a couple of things happen. Yeah, I've got it ready for the next time I'm in that kind of a situation. I've already practiced those words. And running it with a different ending in imagination helps me end up feeling good about myself, even if I couldn't do it well earlier in the day.
Nice.
So it's a nice way to end the day. That chapter also talks about how to request a behavior change from someone else in an effective way that is a little different from quit that, which is often where we come first.
Well, most women, most people feel that boundaries are negative, and they think of them as like a discipline. and we don't like to be disciplined. But when we create boundaries, it's a boundary for not only the people that are around us, but it's also a boundary that we create for ourselves. And if we don't have loving boundaries, then we won't, it's like not having a goal. It's like you will end up somewhere. It's like driving down a road, but never getting somewhere. So, you'll be in the ditch, or you'll be, on the wrong side of the road. You need the loving boundaries to keep ourselves in check.
And I think it is even a bigger piece than keeping ourselves in check. One of the early exercises in the book gives you a way to walk through being in contact with the parts of ourselves, often the little parts of ourselves. Because frequently, if I get into a situation and I just kind of freeze, like I can't say anything and I can't respond effectively, I end up feeling like I'm 5 years old or 3 years old or something like that. And I think that's a situation where that little part of me got triggered by the situation. And she comes forward because that's the situation she used to deal with. Only she's 5 and she doesn't have adult skills for dealing with it. And so if I pay attention to what's going on with her, I can help calm her and let her know she doesn't have to deal with this. I will deal with it. And I get to step in as a good enough parent for the parts of me inside. And that's connected with the whole attachment field, which that word is out there. And a lot of times we don't have a really good idea what that means or how do we do it. So there's something out there called learned secure attachment. So secure attachment is kind of the gold standard. That's when things have gone well. And for many of us, things didn't go well with our big people when we were little. So this is a way that we can become the good parent or the good enough parent for ourselves and have a whole different relationship with the little parts of us than our parents were able to have with us.
And then it creates a more loving way for us to speak to ourselves.
Yeah.
Instead of being so hard.
You dummy. I can say, you know what? I've got some other ideas about how we can do this. So you let me deal with this. And I will listen and find out from you, what do you need now to feel better?
Okay.
And then you can do that. And usually that is fast, inexpensive, and doesn't take much time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good tips. This is so awesome.
Well, it's fun to share some of these pieces. And that is one of the incentives for writing this book, is these are the things that I have learned, often the hard way, over a number of years. You can see my gray hair to know that it's been a while, and that I really would love to pass on and reach more people than I can just by seeing the clients in my office that I do. And so you're really talking about also what is step 7, which is celebrate your changes and yourself. And I think that that's a really important piece, because it's when we can acknowledge ourselves for the steps that we've taken and just say, good job, you're doing it, yay. That's where we create energy inside ourselves for the next steps that we need to take. It's such a different piece from when I'm getting down on myself all the time. And it changes the energy.
And sometimes we're not need to celebrate, and we have to give ourselves grace, and just be open to when that time comes, because again, things don't always happen overnight.
That's true. And I think for me, one of the things was I grew up sort of with the feeling that I couldn't give myself any credit until the entire project was finished. And that really came conscious for me when I was working on a pretty complicated certification professionally as a sand play therapist. And the last piece was I had to write up a case of somebody that I'd worked with. It was 40 pages. It was like over 2 or 3 years of time that I had worked with them. There were a lot of details to it, and I was just overwhelmed. I couldn't even get started. And somebody told me about making a backwards planner. And I'm not sure if that's just especially good for people with ADHD brains, which I have, but it just was perfect for me. So it said, imagine this is all finished and you are holding your certificate in your hand.
Mhm.
What is the last thing that happened before that? So the last thing was I sent off all my stuff. No, the last thing was I heard back that I was certified. And what was the step before that? I sent off all my stuff. And what was the
Ooh,
step
okay.
before that? I finished all of the paper. And what was the step before that? I outlined, I wrote the paper and I outlined the paper. And before that, I came up with how the page was going to look. And I worked my way all the way back to that day. And then I had my whole map ready and I didn't have to think it out every time. I just had to do the next thing on the list.
That
And
is
I could celebrate every single
excellent
little
advice.
tiny step instead of waiting until the end. So
that's so smart.
yeah,
That's excellent. I mean, that's a really great example of mind mapping.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that concept of people, you want to, who was it? I think it was actually Taylor Swift that said, how do I want to talk to my younger self? Or, I want my older self to speak to me right now. And I've had a hard time embracing that. Like, okay, I don't know that person ahead of me yet. But what you've just explained makes so much sense. You set a goal and you kind of mind map it backwards and celebrate the journey. So definitely a great vibration to be in. And you're also such a great example of the saying, learn, do, teach, because you learned it and you did all the action. And now as an entrepreneur, you're teaching other entrepreneurs, other people that were stuck and struggling, and not just women, men and women. And I'm excited to see you evolve even more, Ellen, because I know good things are still yet to come for you.
I need to keep popping. It's fun.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's just switch gears. Well, before we switch gears, I just want to give you a chance to just share a little bit more about your credibility. And if you don't know Ellen Saul, I think Ellen Saul is someone that you need to get to know. And Ellen, would you just kind of share like where a little bit about your practice?
Sure.
Just like real brief. I
Yeah.
don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's
but
fine.
Just, if you want to just share real quick.
Well,
your credibility.
I'm definitely
as
a
an author
learner. So I have a master's degree in community counseling. I have been certified as a sand play therapist and teacher, and that's internationally, and I have done teaching. So sand play is where you get to play in the sand indoors. And there are shelves with little figures of people and rocks and trees and houses, and people can make, big people as well as little people, what they want to in the sand. They can move the sand around and make a mountain or a river and put different miniatures in the sand. And it's a chance for our unconscious to speak. Sometimes I go, oh, this is me, this is my mother. Sometimes I go, I have no idea why I'm putting this one in. And so that's a way of making things visible that are inside of us that we're not conscious of yet. I've been trained in somatic experiencing, which is working with trauma starting with what's going on in your body instead of what's going on in your head, because our bodies carry the traumas, and from 0 to 3 or so, trauma doesn't show up as an idea or a thought, it shows up as a feeling in your body. So that has been a really useful piece. I'm also trained in touch again, which is multisensory play therapy strategies for healing attachment wounds. So when things didn't go well when you were little, there's ways of going back and reconnecting with that little one from what does this smell like and what does this feel like, so that little one can regain that sense of excitement and interest in learning and life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a number of other pieces in my toolbox, but those are the main ones.
Oh, okay. Well, you are ready to launch your book, From Pain to Power. And how, first of all, I recall you saying that there's a waiting list. So how can a listener get onto your mailing list?
So the website is very simple. It's ellensaul.com, ELLENSAUL.com, all lowercase letters. And you can, if you are interested in finding out what's happening, you can leave your email address. I will say it's a 2-step process for everybody's protection. So when you leave your email address, you'll get an email and you need to say confirm at that point. And so that's where the notice will go out about pre-orders being available. And I have available a PDF with the 7 steps on it that people can get when they leave their email address.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's so great. Very generous of you to share that valuable information, because the 7 steps themselves are awesome. And then the book will just complement that. So that's a great thing to share. So
I'm also talking with the publisher about a journal so that people can work on responding to the exercises and responding to the questions. Each chapter has questions for reflection, and then also possibilities for the future. How do I build this into my life so that it's part of my ongoing thing instead of just a book that I read one day?
Right. And just, I keep thinking about the fact that it's just not something that you're going to accomplish immediately. And it's something that you really have to embrace throughout the day. And I'm referring to the recordings, those negative recordings that we have within ourselves. Okay, so our marketing piece of this, as we segue into that, so both Ellen and I are published authors, and we have a lot that we've learned. And I'm very excited about this time for you, Ellen, because you've learned a lot. So one of the boundaries I think we as female entrepreneurs forget to set for ourselves and are really afraid of has a lot to do with money. And we're not going to talk about money today, but I do want to talk about the fact that we are avoiding that boundary. We're avoiding almost, it's like a discipline. We're afraid of it. And when it comes to marketing, we as women, we as entrepreneurs, we do need to have a positive ROI. And if you're comfortable with this, Ellen, would you be open to just sharing, like, how do you see yourself? And have you done that backwards mind map? Like, what will success look like to me if I were only looking at it as a positive ROI? And notice there's no shame with talking about money. There's no shame about talking about an ROI, and there's no shame if you don't have a plan. But I am just curious.
So thinking about marketing, that was sort of the third round of things that I don't know as I'm in this project. So the first round was, I got it. I got the book written. And then somebody said, you will spend as much time editing the book as you did writing the book. And I went, you must be kidding. And they were right. That is a whole other learning process. And as I began to come down to the end of that process, things began to filter in, like, getting online and being available, being able to be found online and having a website. And I knew I needed a lot of help because I am not a digital native. And I think I'm in about fourth grade computer wise these days, but definitely, looking for people who could help me navigate a bunch of this stuff. I think the best piece of advice that I got along the way came from the first class I did online about writing a book. And that was do something every day to promote your book. So one of the things that I'm doing in my practice currently is I'm winding down my in office seeing clients part of my practice because I really want to make space to be able to do teaching or speaking gigs or whatever. And I think I will tell you one other piece that I did about a year and a half ago. I was reading a book called The Book You Were Born to Write by Kelly Notaris, and she had an exercise in there. So I sat down and walked through the steps of the exercise, and I came out with a paragraph about what it will be like when my book is finished and out in the world. And she said, identify several snapshots that you can see in your mind connected with this. So, and write them down and write down how it feels with this, and then read that every day for 30 days. Now, I have opted to reread that each time I sat down to write. And so clearly in my mind was me holding the first copy of the book with a great looking cover and just appreciating how it looked and how it felt and being proud and excited. Another picture was speaking to a group of women who were really interested in hearing my ideas. So that's already started happening. I had an online gig back in October on that. Another one was seeing piles of my book in a bookstore. Another one was having my bank account going up so that I had money to share from this. And so those pieces have been with me, and they're so vivid that I absolutely can imagine all of those. And I've been holding that picture of things arriving. And by golly, that's what's been happening. Contacted to teach a class about the book. And I went to meet the folks and see the setup and talk some about it. And it turns out that they have a full video filming setup and an editor. She's one of the women who runs the company, and that they will film it and edit it and get it ready, get it onto their website so that people can access it. And there was a good profit sharing piece that went with it. And This was unexpected. This was like a whole piece beyond what I expected or hoped for. And I just really had to say thank you to the universe for plopping it in my lap, because that's what it felt like.
You know, what I love about you, Ellen, is that when I think of you as that woman who is going through a difficult marriage and raising children, and where you're at right now, and I have to believe that your bubbly personality was there back then too. It's just evolved even more. You've done beautiful things.
Thank you. I think it was there. And I also know that I was living with so much negativity inside of me that really put a damper on it. I remember one picture I posed for, a dress up photo shot, and I had a smile on my face, but my eyes were really pretty dead. And I remember looking at that picture probably several years later and just going, wow, that is a commentary on where I was at that time. And I think the good news is that no matter how big, how deep the hole is, we can always do things to help move ourselves out of that negative place.
We can. Yeah. Baby steps. All right, Ellen. So I will include in my show notes Ellen's website and anything else that Ellen wanted to share on our show today. And any final thoughts or anything that you wanted to share before we leave today?
I am going to share an idea that is just an idea so far, but I am excited to pursue it. It came into my mind out of the clear blue sky. I could make t-shirts, and one of the t-shirts could say, "I'm learning to take no shit." And another t-shirt could say, "Clear and kind is better than nice." And the third t-shirt, I'll tell you what will go on it after I read you a limerick that I wrote probably about a year and a half ago as a way to try to express what this book was about. So here's the limerick. There once was a girl from New Jersey who feared that she just wasn't worthy. She got stuck in the dark till she first saw a spark and learned to make good topsy-turvy.
I love it. That's
So
good.
the third t-shirt will say, "I make good topsy-turvy."
There
Anyway,
you go.
kind of like John Lewis's "Make Good Trouble." But
Very
this is
fun.
like turn things upside down, that we're in a negative place and it can be in a positive place.
I'd be proud to wear it. You have that entrepreneur spirit. All right. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much. And thank you for following along on my journey.
Yes.
And if you have any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to ask. I'm always open. And I want you to make sure that you with the t-shirt idea. I can hear the ADHD jumping out at you.
No kidding. No kidding. Yeah. What I put out to the universe on that one is that I will find somebody who will kind of do like the film folks did.
Yeah.
Say, I like this idea. I can make the shirt. I will get shirts made for me, and I will try wearing them around and see what happens from that.
You've got how many grandchildren?
12.
You never know.
Yeah.
Who might bite on that. Sounds great. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Time for You for Female Entrepreneurs. If you loved this episode as much as I did, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and if you want to support the show, leaving a review goes a long way. A special shout out to our amazing partners and sponsors. Their support allows us to continue bringing you engaging content every week. And with that, a big thank you. I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're ready to supercharge your email marketing and automation game, look no further than my favorite autoresponder, Active Campaign. It's the ultimate all-in-one platform designed to turn your contacts into customers and your customers into loyal advocates. Imagine having a tool that not only understands your customers, but anticipates their needs. That's what Active Campaign does. With its powerful customer experience automation, you can create personalized journeys that nurture leads, drive sales, and build lasting relationships. The biggest reason I chose Active Campaign after trying other autoresponders is because I wanted to make sure my emails were being delivered and not going into spam. I need to know that my emails actually get to the people I'm emailing so that I have good engagement rates, response rates, and click-through rates on every email I create. Then I can have peace of mind that what I send out about my blog posts or upcoming events gets delivered and that people get to read what I write. And since it's just me, using Active Campaign saves me a bunch of time because I've been setting up automations that I can just drag and drop, allowing me to save hours of time. Not only have their pre-built automations and integrations saved me time, I'm able to power a personalized marketing plan throughout the customer's life cycle. In the end, I really want to personalize my message and make sure that each person is getting a unique email tailored to them, because I don't want to be sending bulk cookie cutter emails. I want to make sure that my customers and community is getting things that are tailored to them as much as I can. Email marketing doesn't have to be crazy where you're not just pushing information. ActiveCampaign teaches you how to be pulling information as well. I appreciate the value I've received from ActiveCampaign when it comes to creating and managing email campaigns. The support through webinars, live chats, and live study halls have been very helpful in maximizing their platform and a great alternative to those other email services I've tried in the past. ActiveCampaign allows me to build a business without relying on advertising. It has simplified my marketing processes, saving me time, which allows me to focus on what I do best, serving my customers. Whether you're a small business or just starting or a seasoned entrepreneur, ActiveCampaign scales to meet your needs and grows with you. If you're ready to up your marketing game, go to my website, lisarcarmichael.com/ActiveCampaign. That's my partner link, and sign up for a free trial. Experience firsthand the power of ActiveCampaign and take your marketing to a new level. Don't miss out. Stay ahead and stay automated with ActiveCampaign. Go to lisarcarmichael.com/ActiveCampaign for your free trial. Hi friends. Today let's have a heart-to-heart about something that's been a significant part of my life, skincare. As a busy female entrepreneur, I need a skincare routine that's quick, easy, and super effective. Turning 60 didn't bother me because I've been taking care of my skin every day for 20 plus years. I didn't always, but I'm glad I did start when I did. Let's fast forward to 1 year ago, and let me tell you about a game changer for me. I stumbled across my secret weapon, Droplet. Droplet is not your typical skincare company. It's a revolutionary approach that delivers personalized monthly skincare subscriptions tailored to your specific skin type. The magic lies in the Droplet Micro Infuser, a device that creates microscopic droplets from formulated capsules, expelling them at a high velocity to infuse ultra-concentrated active ingredients deep into your skin. Now, I'm a self-proclaimed skincare junkie. I've tried it all, from serums to spa treatments, and even once selling a natural body care line. So when I heard about Droplet, I knew I had to give it a shot. I can confidently say it's made a remarkable difference in my skin and my routine. The Droplet Skincare Micro Mist Infusing Device is a game changer. It uses a gentle mist to penetrate ingredients 20 times deeper through micro mist technology. It works with formulated capsules similar to an espresso machine, allowing you to infuse the treatments that are right for you into, not just onto, your skin. Here's how Droplet works. Choose your serum, collagen, retinol, glycolic acid, or maybe a lip plumper. Insert the capsule, hold the device to your face, and press the button. A fine mist of the serum is released onto your skin, targeting your face, your neck, chest, anywhere you want to focus on. These misting capsules have transformed my skincare routine. The results are incredible, from increased resilience to fading hyperpigmentation. Why do I love Droplet? It's quick, easy, and the capsules are recyclable. No cleanup, no hassle. And here's the bonus. Droplet's formulas are clinical strength, dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free, gluten-free, soy-free, fragrance-free, and vegan. It's a skincare lover's dream. If you're looking to level up your skincare routine and evolve beyond the basics, Droplet is your answer. Plus, they offer free skin consultations with their estheticians to address your skin concerns. Investing in a good skincare routine and self-care is crucial for any woman, especially us busy entrepreneurs. First impressions matter, and you want to put your best face forward. It's time to evolve and embrace the next level of skincare. Head over to the droplet link on my website today where you can start your own personalized droplet routine. Here's to glowing, radiant, and fiercely beautiful you, no matter what age you are. Go to lisarcarmichael.com/droplet.